you. Hi, Maggie Hendricks with Yahoo Sports. What are your expectations with Angel and Kamilla here in their second year?
I think we're going to see different versions of both. When you get into the league as a rookie, you know, you have to adjust, and a year has made quite a bit of a difference we've seen already. And I think with a new point guard and a new coaching staff, we're going to see Kamilla play a little bit differently. And I think we've already seen Coach Marsh highlight Angel's ability to be versatile. We've seen her in post-ups, we've seen her in short rolls, we've seen her pick and pop, pick and roll. We saw her at the point four last game, and she's capable of making plays for other people. But both of their versatility is clearly special, and with more floor spacing, we're going to see them be able to operate a little bit easier.
And with both Maddy and Hailey coming in, what do you want to see out of them so that you'll know that's been a successful first year for them?
Yeah, coming in as a rookie is going to be difficult. It's quite an adjustment. We've seen good and bad from both of them, but they pay attention, they work hard, they get extra work in. They're typically in there before everybody else. They're the last to leave, so they're about the right thing, so we're looking forward to it.
We'll go to Brian, then Chris, then Naomi.
Brian T, Chicago State of Mind. Jeff, just wanted to get your thoughts on just the veterans that you added to the mix. Just seeing training camp in the preseason, it seems like they've been really involved with the younger players.
Thoughts on training camp?
Yeah.
Look, when Tyler and I sat down and built a plan for training camp, our goal was to make it as competitive as possible. And we went out and got players for training camp that were probably going to make my job very difficult. And I got to tell you, the collective competitiveness that we felt day one up until a couple days ago was exactly what we were hoping for. So every day was tough. There was a lot of detail behind it. There was a lot of competitive play. There was a lot of physical play. People were fighting for jobs, and there was really early buy-in to Tyler. So we kind of got everything we needed out of camp.
We'll go to Chris, front row, left.
Hey Jeff, Chris with Fox 32. When you look at the last few spots of the roster, obviously Maddy makes the final roster. What went into the decision to let her get that final roster spot, and how difficult were those decisions at the end?
Yeah, that's the toughest part of the job, especially when you have players at training camp that are capable of making rosters in this league. We're at constraints with 12, so it gets difficult, and we knew bringing certain players in, it was going to be tricky. But at spots 11 and 12, and we'll still keep flexibility for a few more days to ensure we get it right. But, you know, we're looking for players that are about the right things, especially as rookies, that have shown us that they have an open mind, that they want to learn, that they listen to the people around them, and that really accept coaching. And so far, they've shown that every day.
And we've seen the impact that Courtney has, not just on the court, but also throughout training camp. But I was wondering if you could explain a little bit more of what Kia Nurse brings in that same kind of vein, on and off the court throughout training camp.
Vandersloot?
Kia Nurse, what she's brought.
Oh, Kia Nurse. Yeah, Kia Nurse was a critical acquisition, we've learned. The toughness and the grit that she brings are going to be the backbone, again, of what we want our identity to be. But look, she's shooting the ball at a high level. She's an extremely intelligent voice on the court and in the locker room. And she's just another vet that we brought here that is absolutely doing their job and proving that there's a real player there.
We'll go to Naomi, third row on your right, and then Steve Greenberg.
Hi, Jeff. Naomi Gray, Chicago Sports Network. Hey.
Got you.
Being that this team underwent so many changes since last year, what are you kind of feeling with the squad you have now, seeing that training camp has passed? Are you noticing a lot of differences in kind of the mentality or the production level?
Yeah, good question. Obviously, we made a lot of changes from last year's roster to this one. We needed to improve significantly in certain areas. We brought in a number of three-point shooters. We brought in a number of new vets. We brought in a Hall of Fame point guard. There was improvements that needed to be made for us to be able to capitalize on our size and our youth, and to allow Angel and Kamilla and Elizabeth Williams, thank goodness now that she's back and healthy, you know, their jobs will get easier with floor spacing. So with some positional size, as shooters, we're going to be able to do a lot. And with the schemes we're running now and what Tyler's using to highlight everybody, we're in a much different strategic position.
Steve?
Morning, Jeff. Steve Greenberg from
Got you.
the Sun-Times. Hi. Beyond X's and O's, but more, I guess, culturally, what are you looking for? Did anything need to get better, and how do you feel about where you're at?
As far as coaching or just on the court?
Just the way chemistry, I suppose, the way the team fits together.
Yeah, we're always going to put a premium on toughness. We're going to put a premium on fit and talent, but you can't sustain winning without chemistry. So maybe you move on from a talented player to ensure that there's a good fit long term. And we have a selfless team right now that is really excited about playing together, and they're understanding more and more each day what their roles are going to be. But we've seen in these first few preseason games that the ball moves, and people are in positions to be successful. So we've seen a lot of good continuity, and we're just really excited about it.
We'll go Kaylin, then Jason, then Michelle, then Nancy, then Claire.
Hey Jeff, Kale Lumpkins with the Chicago Tribune. Coach Marsh has put in like a completely new system here, and the Sky looked like a completely different team compared to last year. How excited are you to kind of see things going in the regular season, and what can you say about Coach Marsh's ability to just completely flip the script of the team?
Yeah, I think we were really excited about the hire months ago. He's, in my eyes, exceeded the expectations as a first-year coach already with how he has commanded buy-in immediately from the first day of camp. So outside of the system you guys are seeing, the relationships and the speed he's been able to build them with the players has allowed the buy-in to continue to grow. But yes, it's a new system. We've seen a lot of different usage from Angel already. And you want to make sure that we're really counting on the versatility of a number of our players. We had Rachel Banham start as a point guard, and she's someone who's been a backup guard in the league. But we have players that you can plug in at different spaces, and I think our versatility and our depth is what's going to allow us to stay extremely competitive. And it was by design, and a lot of that doesn't happen without Tyler, back to your question. So, the system, the action, the ATOs, things we've seen in just a short time have proven that he's pretty prepared for a first-year coach.
We'll go Jason, then Michelle.
Jeff, to your left. As you rebuild and you try to make a step forward from last year, what do you think is realistic to expect as far as making strides this season?
Good question. We are always going to be in win now mode. We retooled. We knew we had to make some changes. We need to, there's a number of roster improvements that had to be made. We're really confident about the group that we have, and as long as we're improving each day, we'll gauge it that way internally. But the goal is to make the playoffs in an extremely competitive league. Everybody's pretty good, so it's going to come down to how hard we play every night, how hard we defend, because we have enough offensive weapons now. So as long as we execute Tyler's stuff, we feel pretty confident about where we could be in this league.
Michelle, same row.
Hey Jeff, Michelle Steele from ESPN. We've seen more and more WNBA teams bring on dedicated practice facilities, and the Sky are going to be one of those few teams that will have a facility coming online. What is your understanding of when that'll be available to players? And then I have a quick follow-up to that in terms of, from a GM standpoint, what role does that facility play in retaining and attracting players?
Yeah, without a practice facility, it is going to continually be difficult for teams, to acquire the most critical players in the league. And we want our players' experience to be paramount. And so ownership, getting this thing done is, for me, it makes my life easy, because when I go into meetings with prospective players or when I'm speaking with agents, they need to understand the investment that our organization ownership is making. We've broken ground. To the best of my knowledge, we are absolutely on target to be in there before camp next year. And we've had a lot of player interaction with what's going to be in the building. It's going to be incredible. I've been in a number of meetings, and it gets more exciting, the closer we're getting to understanding exactly what's going to be inside the building.
Nancy in the third row on the left.
Nancy Hammer, USA Today Sports. Jeff, what did you see or what did you like about Hailey, and how much easier do you think her transition is going to be coming to a team with a former teammate? She and Angel seem to have a really tight relationship.
I think that Hailey's biggest skill will be her ability to adjust. She's got professional experience. She's been to a number of colleges and had to assimilate and had success everywhere. I think she's proven that she can struggle and still come back and be productive. She's had a number of challenging moments already, and she's still been able to make plays for us, especially timely ones. I think she's going to get used to how we're going to use her and when we're going to use her, whether it's on the ball, off the ball, but she's proven already she can see the floor, make plays for other people, and she had a couple big threes last game after having a difficult first half. And again, she's about the right things. So her fearlessness will carry her until she can adjust to our league.
We'll go to Claire, same row.
Claire Watkins, Just Women's Sports. Actually, just jumping off of that, there were obviously properties of Hailey and Maddy's game that you liked on draft night, but with training camp being so short, what really impressed you in just these last 2 weeks of their ability, not only on the court, but to become part of that larger group?
The rookies?
Yes, the rookies.
I can tell you that they're built very similarly with their approach. And when we were doing our recon before the draft, we wanted to make sure any rookies that came here were about as close to aligned to our values as we could find. And during those interview processes, you learn a lot about players, what's important to them, and they've proven to be the people that they described to us that they were in those meetings. And every day, the truth's going to come out. You can work hard for a day, and then, those things can slowly diminish. We've seen the opposite with Maddy and with Hailey, and they are about their basketball, and they're really tough. They do film work every day with the coaches. They're immediately texting before and after games about extra work. So they're proving to us that they're here for the right reasons.
We'll go third row on your right, Chicago Sports Network.
Zach Badger House here, Chicago Sports Network. Just a follow-up question from something earlier. How important would you say expansion is for moving the league forward after having to cut some of those prominent players on the roster, from the roster?
As far as when we had to move on from players?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the toughest part of the job. You have really, really good players in camp intentionally, and as we move forwards, we have to make sure that the fit on the roster is the most critical piece. You add 12 players that should all be playing 20 minutes a game. It's not possible. Fit and balance and, getting behind Tyler's vision as far as personnel is really what matters the most. And, positionally, we had to put ourselves in a place where we weren't too overloaded at one spot. So again, it's the toughest part for me. It's agonizing. Especially when you see people come in and be about the right things and work hard every day. The league is small, the rosters are small, and we have to make decisions that we think are best for us.
We'll go to Alyssa, second row on your left. Last few questions.
Is it easier to hear without the mic or with the mic?
It could be.
Yeah, I think that echo's weird. I'm just going to...
It is challenging, but I'm loving every second, Alyssa.
We can tell.
Okay.
So just with the roster finalized, I think it would be good to hear a little bit more about Aisha and how she fits into the master plan and why it makes sense to let her develop a little bit more before coming over. Aisha Suka.
Okay. Yes, definitely. We feel like we really have, we retained our draft pick for next year since that's when she'll be coming, and we have to make decisions all the time, with the present and the future in mind. But, again, like I said on draft night, I think she can be special. She's young. She's had a ton of success already at 19 years old. She'll be here next season. We speak to her regularly, And again, it's hard to pass up on 6'3", 6'4" shooter who's young and has proven that she can compete at the professional level. So with all the shooting we have now, that's a direction we're going to continue to go and stay. As long as Tyler and I are here, we're always going to be keeping an eye out for positional shooting.
We'll go Carly Bell, then David.
Hey, Jeff. First question is, you guys obviously wanted to add shooters in the off season, but you also added a lot of veteran experience. Just with the veterans that you added, they have 63 total seasons of experience under their belt. Why was that something that was so important to you when you were constructing this roster with Coach Marsh?
You can't survive long term without vets with strong voices that players look up to, that need to hear from, that need to witness the work every day that they put in and why they are who they are. And we have vets at different ages now who can bring something a little bit different to different players there. You got Vandersloot at the top, who is one of one and is clearly the player that I knew she was and who she will continue to be. And when you have someone that special who's running the show, players will pay attention, maybe out of fear, if you know her, but also because her habits are very real. Her approach doesn't change. She's been the same person since I met her, and I'm sure since she got into this league. At her size and to do the damage that she's done and how she's taken care of her body, it tells a good story to anybody paying attention, that if you're about the right things and your habits and your choices, are what drive you as a pro, you can survive a long time in this league and probably have a chance to play longer than some others. So we want to instill those types of habits and choices in players like Elizabeth and Vandersloot and Kia and Rebecca Allen. Those were critical acquisitions for us because we have young players and they need somebody to lean into that are not the coach or the general manager, because as peers and as players, they're going to be able to ask them questions and get a little bit of a different response. And so far, the balance and the communication has been everything that we hoped it would be.
We'll go David and then close with Nikias. One quick question each, please. One quick question each, please.
Hi, Jeff. David Moses with the Bigs Media. How does this 2025 group reflect the long-term vision that you have set for the team?
Again, please. 2025 season?
Yeah, how does this group that you have assembled now reflect the long-term vision that you have for the team?
Our long-term vision is a tricky one due to the unknown that's moving forwards in our league, but we make informed decisions on today and the future, no matter what we're doing. But the vision is going to be the same. We are going to be committed to each other. We're going to be great teammates. We're going to put the attitude, the behavior, and the work ethic before everything else. Basketball is easy, okay? It's the ability to stay connected when things aren't perfect, and we put a group together, and this is the identity that we're going to move forwards with as long as I'm here, is that behavior and selflessness is going to be what carries you through difficult times. Everybody in this league can play, so we're going to try to build an identity of selflessness and players that want to make plays and sacrifice for the people next to them.
Close with Nikias on Zoom. Please unmute.
Thank you. Good morning, Jeff. Just wanted to ask quickly, what did you learn about the league last year? And from a play style perspective, can I be heard?
Where are you?
He's on Zoom.
Okay, got it. All right.
Sorry about
Again?
that. Got you. Wanted to ask, based on last season, what did you learn about the league, either from a roster construction standpoint or an on-court thing? What kind of trends kind of stand out to you that may prevail throughout the league moving forward?
All right, somebody translate.
Can you repeat your question one more time, please?
What did you learn about the league last season, either from a roster construction standpoint or from a play style standpoint?
So that is a question about me. What have I learned? I've learned a lot. Last year was my first year, and we faced a number of challenging circumstances. I think what I've learned the most as far as roster construction is the importance of balance. And talent and fit are critical, but balance from top to bottom is what's going to allow you to survive through injuries, which we faced a lot. And I believe we've created some real depth Compared to a number of other teams, I feel like that's a weapon for us this year. We've got a lot of players that we know can help, and building a roster is tricky for a number of reasons, but Tyler and I are very aligned, so I got a partner in crime there where we see the game very similarly, we see people very similarly, and I think that this league is so competitive that every decision has a lot of weight to it. So that first year was a whirlwind for me personally for a number of reasons. We had rookies that played a ton of minutes. We had a ton of injuries. We finished the season without 3 or 4 starters. I've learned that staying healthy is helpful. And I think that having vets with voices is critical in this league. I think common sense can answer a lot of these questions, but I'll leave you guys with, we could not be more proud of the staff that Tyler has built and the players that are wearing our jersey right now. We are in a very, very proud state. I'm going to give Tyler all of the credit. I wasn't able to do the things that we got accomplished if he wasn't in that room with me this year a majority of the time. So you're going to hear me say it all the time. He is the key to this operation. He's as skilled as a young coach as I've personally been around, and whenever I get the opportunity, even when it's not asked, I'm going to profess my love to that man, what he's doing for us right now. So I couldn't be prouder of what we're building. I think you'll see that today with your discussions with our players and Tyler, that we're trying to build something special. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but we're trying to put people in our jerseys that really represent this city the way we want it to, and we're there right now.
You guys made your final roster cuts this weekend with Maddy Westbeld and Hailey Van Lith both making the final 2 spots that were available. What are things that you just saw out of Hailey Van Lith, but more specifically Maddy, that earned her that spot on the roster for this season?
Yeah, I think it's the work ethic first and foremost. I think that both have been really attentive to what we're trying to put in place, and we feel like they're good pieces to what our culture could be. But we still want to be flexible the next couple of days that we have for the rest of camp leading into the regular season. But we've been really pleased with what those two have shown us thus far and how they've been able to compete in practices and in the minutes that they've gotten in games. And they've really taken to coaching. They've been really adaptable and really coachable over the last few days as well. So no, we're really pleased with where they've shown so far.
We'll go Maggie, front row on your right.
So with Angel and Kamilla going into their second years, what are your expectations? What do you want to see out of them?
Just continued growth. I think that one of the big messages, not just for those two, but for our team, has been not taking steps backwards. We want to continue to progress. I don't want to put limitations on who they are and who they can be. I think that that's part of what the communication of our staff has been, and just showing them different areas where they can be effective, and again, just not putting parameters on how they can expand their games and be locked into not just improving where they are now, but expanding into other areas of their games as well where they can be beneficial.
Was this?
Hi, Tyler. David Moses with the Bigs Media over here. How would you assess success in year one as a head coach? Are you more so going off of wins, player development, or just overall system buy-in?
Say that one more time, sorry.
Yeah, how would you assess your success in year one as the head coach? Are you going off of player development, growth, or just system buy-in?
I think it's establishing identity first and foremost. I think that coming into your first year, it's really all of our first years together, so it's a clean slate for everyone. And I think that just establishing a culture, establishing a mindset, establishing an identity of who we want to be for this year and for the long term is how we'll gauge ourselves moving forward. And we want it to be something that's sustainable, something that's just not for year one and fades away in year two, but something that we can continue to build upon and lay on a foundation for everyone that's in here now, and everyone that's to be a Chicago Sky moving forward understands what we're about, and they can kind of disseminate that message along to everyone else. So it's being able to put a set of standards in place where we can know what our core values are and how we want to moving forward.
We'll stay on the same row.
Hi, Coach. Brendan Prizeman with the Daily Herald. You talk about building a culture, and obviously you come from the Aces championship culture. Courtney Vandersloot, Ariel Atkins both also have championship history. What does it mean for this team, and especially for this young nucleus, to be able to add so many people that know what it takes to win a title in this league?
Yeah, our veteran and championship leadership and presence on the staff and on the team is in the locker room. It's huge. It's invaluable. It's Courtney's an extension of myself and our staff from the bench, and so she's someone who's been around this league a long time and has done it in this city already. And so her experience, her maturity, her wisdom, it's something you can't really put a price on. And I think that you can go down the line with the vets that we have in Elizabeth Williams and Moriah Jefferson and Kia Nurse and Beck Allen. Like, those are people who've been around this league and have shown their value a long time on the court, but they certainly have value in our locker room as well when it comes to our younger players and kind of showing them the ropes on how to work and how to be a professional and things like that, which again, as a coach, you can't put a price upon.
We'll go to Chicago Sports Network, then ABC.
Zach Badgerhouse here, Chicago Sports Network. Jeff, the GM, he speaks highly of you. He even used the word love. Wow. So what has the relationship been like with you and him, and from a coach's standpoint, since you arrived in Chicago?
It's been great. I spoke when I first got the job. I was very happy in Vegas and in my role in Vegas, and I knew that for me to take this jump, it wasn't just to jump at the first opportunity to be a head coach, but it had to be at a place and around people that I felt like had the same type of values as myself. And I saw that in Jeff. It took a few meetings for us to see how we aligned in terms of not just how we saw the game, but how we wanted to treat people. And I think that that's what initiated my interest in coming here. And our relationship thus far, our working relationship has been great. Love is a strong word, but I think we'll get there eventually. But he's been nothing short of amazing thus far, and I think that everything that he's talked to me about in terms of when negotiating with coming to the Sky and being a part of this organization, he's followed through on all of that, and so I couldn't ask for anything more.
We'll go back row on your left, then Elias, then Kaylin, then Alyssa, then Chris.
Hey, Coach. Deion Miller from ABC 7. You mentioned that Courtney is kind of an extension of you. As a first-year head coach, how valuable has that already been in just getting the buy-in from everybody to have her veteran voice speak so loudly?
It's been great. I think it's certainly been a priority for not just myself, but for Courtney as well, to establish that relationship between myself and her, and how that's going to materialize over the course of the season. But she understands what her voice means, and she's someone that picks and chooses when she's vocal and when she has that presence. But she's someone that when she speaks, everyone listens. She commands the room, and so there's a respect factor there that was there from day one. And I think that's something from whether it's our staff or our front office and on down to our players. She's somebody that we hold a high value in.
Move to Elias and then Alyssa.
Hi, Coach. So when you think about this training camp period, obviously it's a learning experience for the players, but it's a learning experience for you too, since it's your first time being here. And when you look back on that, what are some things that maybe you've learned throughout this process? Like, you're going to learn way more as the season goes on, but just the past few weeks, is there some things that have stood out to you that surprised you, just with thinking about yourself and your own learning experience?
Yeah, I think all the above. I think this has been a great experience thus far. I think that starts with our players and how willing they've been to buy into what we've been selling, and the work ethic that they've put in and how coachable that they've been thus far. It's made my job easier. It's made our job easier as a staff, but it also makes it fun to come to work every day. And so when you see the level of enthusiasm that we have and the passion that we have to come to work, and it makes all the difference with who you're going to work with. And so I think that it's just been a great energy and a great vibe thus far, and we want to keep that going.
We'll go Kaylin, Alyssa, then Chris, then we'll move to Steve, Christian, and we'll close with Jason.
Hey, Coach Ken Lumpkins with the Chicago Tribune. You encourage your players to sort of let it fly from behind the arc and shooting in general, and you travel to a Fever team that also decided to has that identity too. What have you seen from the first 2 preseason games from that shooting standpoint? Will you use the season opener as an assessment of where your team stands from that point?
You're saying the progress that we've seen in the preseason games thus far?
Yeah, from a shooting standpoint, 3-point
From a shooting
standpoint, things like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think that it's certainly been great to see, the number of shots from the outside go up. I remember in that first game against at LSU against Brazil, and during the game I turned to our video coordinator who was at the scorers table, and he was like, we've gone on a little cold streak. We've missed 6 in a row, and I'm like, well, what's the important number there? He's like 6. We've taken 6 in this quarter. So it's the attempts that I want to get up. And so I think that, for us though, the amount of shooting that we've added to our team isn't just to buy into a style where we're just going to launch up a bunch of threes, but it's about creating space. It's about creating space and making defenses honest. And what it ultimately does is open up the paint for Angel and for Kamilla and for Elizabeth and our post players down low. And so we don't want anyone to have to feel like they got to play in the crowd, and that's whether that's our guards or whether that's our posts. And so the ability to stretch the floor at numerous positions helps our overall spacing and the flow of our offense.
We'll go to Alyssa, same row.
Hey, Coach. Why do you think that this group will be good defensively?
We're tough. We're tough and we're physical, and we don't ever want that to fade, and we want that to be 2 building blocks of what our identity is. We want teams to know that when they come and play the Sky, that they're in for a fight. They're in for a fight that we don't run from. And I think that, in a way, it's cool that it takes on the persona of the city. Chicago's a tough, gritty, hard-working city, and that's kind of what we want to be about as a team. And so I think when you look top to bottom, with our youth, with our vet experience, toughness is something that you can see when, all the way through. And so that's what we want to be about, and I think that'll allow us to get to being a good defensive team, as the season progresses.
Chris, front row on your left.
Tyler, Jeff was in your
Please use the mic.
Jeff was in here talking about how the team is always going to be in win now mode. And what parts of this roster give you confidence that this team can realistically win now?
Well, first I think it's about taking it a game at a time. I think that we're not in full control over what the wins and losses are going to look like. What we are in control of is how we approach it every day in practice and in games, and taking it one day at a time. And so I think that if we meet the level of standards that we want to, then the results will take care of itself. And that's kind of the message that we want to disperse throughout and understand. And we don't want to look ahead to any games. We don't want to underestimate any of our opponents, but we want to give every game the proper attention that it deserves. And if we do that, then I think we'll be happy with what those results lead to. I think winning looks different to everyone, and for us, it's about improving. It's about staying connected and staying together. And then, moving forward, it's about stacking those wins, but we want to stack the days first. So,
Christian, front row on your right.
Hi, Coach, over here, Christian Conway, Winsider. So we saw a lot of Angel out on the wing, and we saw her running the point forward, really showing her versatility. How do you balance that, and then also having her in the paint, since she is, the leading rebounder in the league and can out-rebound most players that she come up against?
Yeah, I think that the rebounding is always going to be there. I think that the Angel's shown her dominance on the defensive and offensive glass, and so we certainly want that to maintain, continue to be a part of her game. But at the same time, I think that she's got so much versatility to her that I don't think gets talked about enough. She can handle, she can pass, she can play off the bounce. I've said this numerous times before, like, there are no limits to who she can be as a player, and that's what we want her to feel. That's what we want her to show that we have confidence in. We don't want to limit her just to being a rebounder, because she's so much more than that. Her potential is so much more than that, and so her ability to for our offense to flow through her in the trail, and her to be able to play more in pick and roll, and then we can find her ways to exploit her on the post as well. Like, we're going to put her all over the place. I think you saw that a little bit last game against Minnesota too. She initiated some offense at times. She had 6 assists, no turnovers. So, like, it's a glimpse of what she can be, and I have all the faith and all the belief in her. her potential is through the roof, and we're going to get her there.
We'll go to Steve and then close out with Jason. One each, please. One each.
Hi, Tyler. Steve Greenberg, Sun-Times. Picking up on what you were just saying about Angel, you know, she's an all-star. She's one of the most famous athletes in the city. Where is she relative to the very best players in the league now at 23? And can you articulate more about what you view as the path she's on?
Yeah, I think respectfully to the question, I think that it's enough pressure on these young players to feel like they got to contribute in a way that's at the top of the league from day one. I think those pressures have been put on Angel and a lot of these rookies since the time that they've got drafted, and the reality is that they have 2 weeks to ingratiate themselves into a whole new style, a whole new dynamic, a whole new lifestyle. And it's really unfair to them to put those high expectations on them, to compare them to the likes of an Asia Wilson or a Breonna Stewart or a Nafisa Collier. Like those are three of the best players in this world. And and it's not to say that the potential isn't there, but I think that we got to talk about what the incremental steps are to get to that point before we can just place that upon these players. And I think that it does them a disservice sometimes where we take away that room for growth. We got to give them grace in who they are as a player, and we got to give them grace in who they are as professionals. And it's our job as coaches to be that for them. And so we just want to take it step by step. But again, the long-term growth of Angel and potential of Angel and Kamilla and the young players that we have, it's limitless. Like they can be two of the very best bigs in this league, and the tandems that they are together, they've already shown that they can be a force together, and they'll continue to be. But again, we got to give them the platform and the room to get there and to grow, and we don't want to put too high expectations on them too soon. But we want to be able to show them, you know, the progress as we go year to year.
Last question from Jason on your left.
Tyler, to your left. Jeff was talking about working together with you in the offseason on roster building. I assume that's the most input you've had on personnel in your career. How close were you able to get the pieces you need to run the system you want?
I mean, I think we have the pieces. I think we have the vet leadership. We have the spacing. We have the inside presence. We have one of the best point guards to ever play this game. We have a smart team, a tough team, a physical team. We have the pieces in place to be successful. You just got to give us the time to get there. And so I don't want to put a timeline on it, but we feel good with where we're at and who we have. And, you know, we're locked into being the best version of ourselves, you know, come this regular season. And hopefully we continue to progress throughout the season where we can show where we can be playing our best basketball, you know, towards the end of the year.
What expectations and goals do you have for yourself for this season?
I think for me, just going from year one to year two, just giving myself grace and patience and just continuing that confidence I left from Unrivaled and continuing that coming into this season. I think I've worked on a lot of things this off season. Being healthy is another thing that I'm prioritizing as well. So just being able to be myself, and then all the other things will come. I want to get to the playoffs, and I want to get there bad, and I love to win. And it left a bad taste in my mouth, not making the playoffs last year, not being able to help the team. And then also, obviously, I went to the finals too, and just soaking that up and feeling what they were feeling is something that I'm really eager and really, really hungry for.
We'll go to Carly Bell, then Naomi.
Hi, Angel. One thing when I've spoken to your teammates is that they say that you can add about anything to your bag, and then it will continue to develop throughout the season. Just in that last preseason game, we saw higher assists numbers from you than we did see last season. What are things about the actual passing game that you have that you want to continue to grow and develop this season?
I don't think it's about growing and develop. It's showing you things that you guys may have not seen. I was the #1 wing coming out of high school. When I went into college, I had to transition to be a post player. I've always been a player for the team. Every every team I've been a part of, I've been a player for the team. When I went to Maryland, I was a player for the team and did what I needed to do. When I was at LSU, I was a player that did what the team needed and got a championship, as people can see. Coming here, obviously Sloot was out last game. Coach emphasized, I need you to play point guard sometimes. I'm willing to do whatever it is for the team, and I don't do it for you guys or what you guys can see. It's for what my team needs, and I think that's something going into year two. I don't really care about, I'm sorry, excuse me, but nothing y'all have to say or think or want. I'm doing whatever I need for the team, and that's always my prioritization, and I want to win as bad as everybody else in Chicago wants us to win.
Naomi, third row on your right.
Hi, Angel. Naomi Gray, Chicago Sports Network. Speaking about your team, how special is this team that you have right now? You guys went through training camp, and I'm sure you've seen some differences from the team that was last year compared to now. So what is so special about this group?
Yeah, I think the best thing is having a group that just wants everybody to get better every day. And they push you every day, and even just small things like if I'm shooting a free throw and we're like going at a fast pace and I don't do my routine, they'll be like, hold on, like make sure you do your routine. Or like even if somebody doesn't do the right footwork, like, hey, like that footwork, we're gonna need that. So like just a constructive criticism, being able to see like everybody just wants each other to get better. And obviously we need every single piece to make the puzzle, and that puzzle to win that championship, or even just small steps to making the playoffs. So I'm just super excited just to be around women that really wanna get better every day and just have the toughness to come in practice every day and just wanna just work.
Naomi, third row on your left. Nancy, third row on your left, sorry.
Angel, Nancy Armour, USA Today Sports. You and Hailey only played together 1 year at LSU, but you seem to develop a really good relationship. Can you explain that or detail how that came about, and how excited were you when you saw that this guy had drafted her?
Me and Hailey obviously have had a connection since obviously LSU, and I haven't stopped staying in touch with her since she left. Obviously, I think the biggest takeaway from when she was at LSU was we created a friendship. And obviously, you don't always get that when players transfer. And me and Hailey just continued to have that friendship. And I used to text her after games, and she would text me and just encourage me, and I would encourage her. And now that we both grown on and off the court, I was just like, yes. And we have like a great relationship off the court. We have a lot of similarities too. So I love Hailey. I love her family. You'll see her dad a lot. I love her dad too. So I'm just super excited for her to be in the right place. And I tell players all the time, like, it's about fit. Her being under Sloot, like, that's the best thing that that could be possible for her too. So I'm just really excited to play with her. And I told Jeff, like, during the process, I was like, if you want a dog, go get Hailey. And I kept telling him that. And you can see her grit. You can see how hard she works. She's one of the first to get in the gym and one of the last to leave.
We'll stay on the left, fourth row.
Hi, Angel. Dionne Miller from ABC 7. Last year, you guys struggled with a lot on and off the floor. Coaching change. They brought in a bunch of veterans. Do you feel like what was missing last year is here already? You feel like those pieces are coming together in a different way?
I don't really know what was missing because that was my first year. I had no expectations. And then now it's like, damn, we went through that last year. Like, we laugh on the bus about some of the things that we went through last year. And just the experiences that we went through last year. And just even talking to like Michaela, I was like, is this your hardest training camp? She was like, yes. So like now I know what to expect. I know what the standard is. Obviously last year I didn't know what the standard was. And now moving forward, like there's a standard set. And Jeff emphasized that in the off season. He was like, there's going to be a standard here that everybody's going to come in every day, win or lose, we're going to work hard, and we're going to give it our all. And that's something that I know like every single day I can get from this group.
Second row on your left, we'll go all the way down. We'll go Jason, Michelle, Alyssa, then Kaylin.
Angel, what are you seeing on the court so far? I know it's only been preseason games and a few weeks of practice, but what are you seeing on the court about the team at large that you feel very encouraged by, that you think is better than where you guys were?
Last year? Yeah. I think the togetherness. Last year, we didn't lose that many games. I've never lost that many games in my life. And even though we lost the other day, it didn't feel like a loss. It felt like a lesson and things that we can work on. It didn't feel like everybody was just beating up on each other in the locker room. Like, it just felt like, okay, we can learn from this and we can move on. And I just love that, like, we have a group of leaders, especially bringing in Sloot, bringing in Kia, bringing in Ariel, Rachel, Moriah, Will, like having those vets is just like a breath of fresh air, and like knowing and being directed and having direction. Like that was the best thing for me. I think even just this off season, just being able to have a great point guard like Chelsea hanging around Ka, like the best thing for me this off season was hanging around vets. And I think coming back to Chicago and having great vets is just going to be great for us.
Hi, Angel. It's Michelle. I'm curious. It feels like every year in the W, they're just breaking new records for growth, attendance, ratings, what have you. The Sky are going to be one of the few teams in this league that will have a dedicated practice facility. I know we're about a year out from that, but I'm curious, as one of the most prominent athletes in this league, period, how much input did you have in terms of what's going to go into that facility?
Believe it or not, like, as long as there's a hoop and I can somewhere to put my bag, like I'm cool with hooping. Coming to Chicago, like obviously other teams were interested in drafting me. I was like, I want to come to Chicago where we can build. You got to start somewhere. And I think people don't realize that. Like people want to start with all the glitz and glamour. Nah, you got to start where in the gutter. You got to start where it's hard. Like it's not supposed to be easy and there's supposed to be any handouts. So I don't really know what's going on with the practice facility as far as the inside. I know they're building it, obviously. I know they're prioritizing certain things as far as recovery and like being able to have multiple courts and multiple gyms. But as long as there's a basketball and a hoop I can put the ball in, I'm good.
Are there certain amenities that are more important to you than others?
Say it again?
Are there certain amenities that are more important to you than others?
I think being able just to have recovery on site, on standby, having masseuse. I think recovery is the most important thing. And just seeing my teammates that have been playing 8-9 years and talking to them like, how are you guys still doing this? Sloot looks like a well-oiled machine. She looks like she's 21. But like just being able to see that and learn from them. And I think the best thing was going to Unrivaled and seeing everything they had in there. The weight room was probably the size of this room. Being able to have masseuse, being able to have a chef, being able to have those things. So there's a standard. And like I was texting Ann and Jeff every day like, hey, like these are things we need back in Chicago, and they were listening. So obviously you can see like they're super responsive here, and I'm just super excited to be here.
We'll go to Alyssa, Kaylin, then Chris. One each, please. One each.
Just following up on that topic, Angel, have there been any small upgrades in the resources available to you guys as players, like any small things with recovery or in any of those areas compared to last season?
Yeah, just like meals, being able to have the meals like right before practice, right after practice, right before the plane. Sometimes we used to get like sandwiches, but like everything is just a hot meal, ready to go now, and I love that part. We got new apartments, which are great too. So I think it's just small baby steps. And I think everybody coming here, I think me talking to Jeff, like, if you can come here in the trenches, like, and you wanted to come here in the trenches, you're meant to be here when it's time to shine and walk that red carpet. And from free agency, like, it was a risk take coming here. Like, we don't have a practice facility, and it goes to show, like, what Sloot wanted. It goes to show what Kia, Ariel, what they trusted and believed in. And you're going to see, like, once we get that practice facility, everybody going to be trying to come to Chicago, but the door going to be shut. Nah, just kidding. We still going to accept free agencies, but I'm just super excited just to be here and just be around.
We'll go to Kaylin.
Hey, Angel. Compared to last year, Coach Marsh has put in a completely new system here. How comfortable, it's only been a few preseason games, but how comfortable would you say if you've gotten in the system, and you alluded to it earlier, but how much potential do you think this team has right now?
Yeah, I feel like my old like AAU self, like just getting a rebound and pushing and just being super versatile. Obviously, it's an adjustment from last game. You know, Sloot wasn't playing, so it's hard to get rebounds from three-point line running in. Obviously, rebounds wins championships, and I know my teammates are going to need me to still continue to do that. But obviously, if I'm on the perimeter a lot, it might take away from that, but that's not going to stop me from going in there and wanting to bang and battle. But it's just patience, like learning new systems, learning new ways. I really enjoyed Tyler just being open and transparent, things that I'm good at and things that I need to work on, and that's just something I really love.
We'll go to Chris.
Angel, what did winning Unrivaled Defensive Player of the Year mean for you?
It meant a lot, because going into it, I mean, I knew what I was working on offensively and being healthy and coming back, and I was like, let's focus on one thing going into here, and that's defense. And I think some of the best players play both sides of the ball, and I watch like Asia and watching Nafisa, like they don't have their motor is like through the roof, and that's what I want to like just be able to hold on to. I don't think anybody can take that from them, being able to go and go and go offensively and defensively. I know my offensive game has time to catch up and can catch up, and I'm only a sophomore now, I guess it's a second year now, but like defense is something I can do right away. I can always impact, and that's something I always can bring to the team. And as you can see this year, they really emphasize on defense. So I want to be on off defensive team this year. Like the best players in this league are the fours, and I take that personal. So just going into it every night and with that matchup is just something I really take into.
We'll stay in the front row on your left, Katie, and then we'll go to Christian, and then we'll go to David, and then we'll close with in-person.
Hi, Angel. Katie with CHGO. Are you setting any personal goals for yourself as far as statistics, all-star team, nothing like that? And then any areas of focus for yourself going into year 2?
Just consistency and being confident and just being efficient and just being able to be myself. And like I was saying, like not worrying about anything else but me and just trusting the process. It's not going to happen overnight. Like, don't be expecting me to come down and shoot 6, 7 threes a night. Like, obviously that's what I'm working on, but like, it's just a confidence piece. Like taking the shots that I was hesitating on last year and just building off that. Like I said in college, like I did what I needed to do as far as like being a post. And I didn't take that many threes in college because I did my role and I played my role and did what I needed to do for the team. And now just getting comfortable and getting confident. My coaches and my teammates put a lot of confidence in me each game. So I just love just being a part of that, but just giving myself grace and just giving myself patience.
Hi, Angel. Hi. Christian Conway, Winsider. So we heard earlier Tyler just speaking so positively about you, and I know there's a lot of people who may not be familiar with the things that you already had in your bag, and you spoke about that. How do you feel about Tyler actually just having all this confidence for you to show what's already in your bag, like being the point forward, the ball handling, things like that?
Yeah, talking to him through the process of him getting like hired and stuff like that, he came down to Miami and just kind of told me like, this is what I need you to do. Like, I need you to be a lot of things for us and not just one thing. Everybody in the country knows I can rebound. I think everybody knows that offensively and defensively, but I can bring more to the table, and he wants me to showcase everything. Like he always tells me, like, your potential is through the roof. Like, you can continue to do great things and just continue to just have confidence within yourself. I think the best thing is to have a confident coach and a coach that really believes in you. Every part of my career that I was successful at LSU, I had Kim Mulkey. She believed in me. She trusted me. Now being here and like being able to have a coach that really trusts and believes in me has showed great results. So I'm just happy to just be here and just be a part of this.
Hi, Kamilla. Maggie Hendricks with Yahoo Sports. What goals and expectations have you set for yourself for this season?
I would say for me, it's just play harder, do whatever my team needs me to do in order for us to get the wins and make it to the playoffs.
We'll go to David Moses, second row on your right.
Hi, Kamilla. David with the Bigs Media. How are you approaching your role as a rim protector and enforcer in the post?
Sorry, what did you say?
I'm over here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I see you.
I said, how are you enforcing your role as a rim protector and an enforcer in the post?
Just be aggressive and play off my next post. So if it's Angel or Ariel, just play hard and dominate in the post, because that's what we do. Get a lot of rebounds and stuff like that.
We'll go to Chris, front row on your left, and then Katie, and then Carly.
Hey, Kamilla.
Hi.
So far throughout training camp and preseason, what have you learned about playing with a point guard like Courtney Vandersloot?
That is amazing to have a point guard. Like, she make our lives easier. She know the game. She give us advices, and she's a vet, like a real vet. She tells us what to do, and she helps us a lot. She just facilitate everything for us. So I'm really thankful that we have her this year, and I'm really excited.
Front row on your left still.
Hi, Kamilla. Katie with CHGO. You've had a few preseason games to, get acquainted with each other. Who do you think are the leaders on this team?
I'd say all the vets. We got Kia Nurse, we got we got Ariel, we got Ariel. Everybody, and I think not just about being a vet and being a leader. I think even the young players, they try to step up their leadership role and just be there, be present in the moment.
We'll go to Carly Bell, second row on your right.
Hey, Kamilla. It's kind of speaking about that veteran leadership. You have Elizabeth Williams back this year, fully healthy. How impactful has she been for you in understanding this new system and, playing in the post game a lot more?
He have helped me a lot. My first year, I went through a lot. I was hurt, and he was always there for me. She showed me love, support. She opened her arms and hugged me and stuff like that. So having her as a post player and seeing her fully healthy is amazing. Like, I look up to her. One day I hope I can be as great as she is.
We'll stay on the second row to your right.
Hi, Kamilla. Brendan Prizeman with the Daily Herald. Last year, you led the team in blocks. You were second in rebounds. Now that you've got a full year with the league under your belt, how do you think you can continue to improve both offensively and defensively with crashing the boards and protecting the paint?
Just being more aggressive. I think the offseason have helped me a lot. I'm a totally different player, and this season I'm 100% healthy. So just being aggressive and going out there and do whatever my teammates need me to do in order for us to win games.
We'll go to Elias, back row on your right, and then to
Hi.
Claire.
How have you been adjusting? It's a more up-tempo offense for sure this year. You're running a lot more in transition. How do you feel like higher pace is going to bring out some of the strengths in your game?
It's been amazing. The pace we're playing right now is amazing, and I'm just really excited.
We'll go to Claire, third row on your left.
Claire Watkins with Just Women's Sports. Jumping off of that, the team added a lot of shooters in the off season. How helpful is it to have the threat of three-point shooting to help with your game inside?
Very helpful. I think, like I said, the offseason helped me a lot just to gain confidence. Like, I think I had a problem last year with my confidence, and this year I'm very confident and I know what I'm capable of doing. So I just want to go out there and show everybody what I can do.
Any more in person for Kamilla? We'll go to Alyssa.
Hey, Kamilla, just following up on what you just said. Why do you think playing in China was so helpful for your confidence?
I would just say in China, honestly, we practice a lot. So the practice have helped me a lot, and just getting a lot of minutes. Like, by playing a lot, I realized things that I could do that I did in China that I didn't do in the league. So just bring everything back to the league. So hopefully everything I did in China can translate to the league this year.
We'll go to Christian, front row on your right, and then we'll go back to Carly Bell.
Hi, Kamilla, Christian, Winsider. So we see in our short time we get a chance to see you in practice, you have a great shot. You have a great outside shot too. Do you think we're going to see more of that this year? You shooting a little more?
I worked with that. I work on that a lot in China. There's a lot of what they do, shoot the ball, and I'm working with Courtney, with Dave. So yes, we're going to see a lot of more shooting this season.
Thank you.
We'll go back to Carly Bell and then to Steve.
Kamilla, you mentioned Courtney Paris. How impactful has she been as a coach for you this offseason in developing your game?
Very impactful. She did a lot for the game, and she's a legend. So just having her and having her coaching us is amazing. Like the things that she did, hopefully one day we can do the same, So it's really nice having her as a coach and have her over there helping me, talking to me every day, watching film with me. It means a lot to me.
We'll go to Steve, third row on your right.
Hi, Kamilla. You mentioned confidence. Last year, you struggled with it. What did that keep you from doing last year, and what changed it? When did you sort of realize, what helped you find it?
I don't know. It's just different. I feel like the energy is different this year. We all moving towards the same goal. So we all just excited for this season. I think we just left last season behind.
We'll go to second row on your right again.
Hi, Kamilla. You talked a little bit about the vets. Courtney has a title, Ariel Atkins has a title, Tyler Marsh obviously coming from the Aces with championship experience. How important is it for you and the rest of the younger players to have the coaches and the players coming in that know what it takes to win in this league?
I think it's amazing when you have a really good point guard with championship experience, like she have that champion mentality, so she want to win, and she rubs her energy off on us, so it's amazing to have her with us.
Any more in person for Kamilla? We'll go to one last one for Carly Bell.
We've not only seen your confidence offensively, but defensively as well. In these last 3 preseason games, you already had 8 block shots along with 4 or 5 steals total. What are things that you want to add to your defensive game that can also contribute to what the team wants to do?
That's also something that I'm working on it right now. I just want to be able to play defense, like be able to go out there and guard a guard, or whenever we have to switch, I can be able to stay in front of them and stuff like that. And that's something that I'm really working on it because it's something that I need to improve.
We've got time for one question on Zoom. We'll go to Myron, ESPN. Please unmute.
Yes, Kamilla. Sometimes you wear the one-leg sleeve. You've done that a couple of times. Why did you make the decision to wear the one sleeve when you do it, and how does that impact your game?
He's asking why you wear your leg sleeve, why you made the decision to wear your leg sleeve.
Oh, I know I went to school in South Carolina. Once I saw Asia doing it, I did it.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Hi, Maddy. Hi, Hailey. First question is going to be, mostly for both of you, but it's coming off the draft and going through training camp, and now looking ahead to this first regular season game on Saturday. Both of you guys have basically solidified your spot on the roster. What does that mean to both of you to have that spot on the roster? And 2, what are things that you both want to contribute in your games, come the start of the regular season?
Yeah, I think for me personally, I don't see it as me having a spot yet. I think it would be wrong of me to become complacent and feel safe from that. I think even if I do earn a spot by the deadline, my mindset shouldn't change at all in the way that I approach the team, my training, my mindset in practice. So, I plan on not, getting complacent and feeling like I finally earned a spot. But I'm super excited for the possibility that I could play, at the end of the week. And I think that for me, it's important to just take it one day at a time. As a rookie, there's a lot coming at you, and it can be easy to get overwhelmed. So I like to prioritize one intention that I'm going to get better at every day, and hopefully at the end of the day, I can be successful at that. So that's my main goal.
Yeah, just gratitude is the first thing that comes to my mind. Waking up every day and understanding, the platform that I've been given and this opportunity that I've been given. But at the same time, like Hailey said, I'm coming in and I'm hungry every day. And it's just a consistent mindset that I have to have regardless of, anything that people are saying or what the status is. It's how I come in every single day and how I walk into the gym. And so that's never going to change regardless of what's going on.
We'll go Maggie, front row on your right.
Hi, Maggie Hendricks with Yahoo Sports. For both of you, I would like to know what you learned in the last year of college, and maybe even in playing each other, what you learned that's preparing you for this moment.
Yeah, we've been joking a while. We kind of hated each other for like 5 years. But it's cool that we get to, at every school, at every conference, but it's cool that we are able to put on the same jersey now and just have real conversations with each other. But I think in this last year, for me, the one word that I've been talking about is just resilience. Being able to come back from injury mid-season. There were many, many highs and lows that we had went through, but just continuing to, like I said, show up consistently every day and just be resilient in that, and continuing to just fight and put a smile on my face, to be honest. Just appreciating every moment, and then also coming up to this, and it was a very high pressure situation going into the draft, but like I said, gratitude can lead the way, and it takes the pressure out of it. So that was the biggest thing that I learned.
We'll go to Nancy, third row on your left.
Nancy Armour, USA Today Sports. Hailey, right in front of you. You only played with Angel for a year at LSU, but it seems like you two have developed a really special bond. Can you talk about how that developed, and how much easier does it make it on you knowing you've got Angel here as a resource since she's already gone through, a rookie season?
Yeah, obviously, I played with Angel for a year at LSU, and we started building our bond there. Angel's a very, I think we share a lot of values, and we align in a lot of things that happen off the court, and what we think, the standard of your character should be. And so I think, it really is more than basketball, and honestly we love talking with each other about things that have nothing to do with basketball, and what we do outside of basketball, and that's kind of where we bond the most. But yeah, I think having her alongside me this year, Angel has always been a huge encourager for me. Whenever I show any signs of self-doubt or questioning, she's always the first person to basically tell me to snap out of it. And if I'm performing below my capabilities, she'll hold me accountable to that and remind me who I am and who I'm supposed to be. So I think for my rookie year, having someone like that is going to be really important, and I'm grateful that it's her.
We'll go to Chris, then Katie, then Christian, front row on your left.
Hey, Maddy. Going back to what you were just talking about, the injury, what you went through this last year to get drafted, and then making the final roster. What was that moment like, and who told you that you made the roster?
I mean, for me, I keep going back to gratitude, and that's just the name of this year. But I think it also is just a testament to the player that I've been up to this point. This last year was a little shaky for me, but coming into, stepping into this moment right now, and not being peak up to this point. I mean, I think, like I said, it speaks to, what I've been through and what I've done to put the work in to be up to this point. So I'm excited to say that I'm only scratching the surface and truly see what I'm about to be able to do.
Katie, front row on your left still.
Hi guys, Katie with CHGO. For both of you, how would you describe the culture of the Sky so far through a few preseason games?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're new here, but there's a lot of people that aren't rookies that are new. New staff, new players. Obviously, we're new, but I think that the overall buy-in to who we want to be and what our team is going to represent has been very convincing, and I take comfort in seeing the older girls completely buy into the mindset that our team wants to adopt, and so I feel welcomed by everybody. I think it's been a very welcoming environment, an environment that I feel comfortable in. I know I can grow in. There's people that want the best for me here. So, yeah, I'm very encouraged by what I've been able to be around in the first few preseason games, and I just can't wait for the rest of it to play out.
I will say I was talking to Kia and E-Will after one of our first preseason games, and I was just telling them that I haven't played with this much joy in a while, and they had both smiled back at me and just said the same thing for them too. And so I think that's just a testament to this is kind of a unique situation where everybody is truly bought into just the character and the chemistry and the culture of this place and what Tyler and Jeff are trying to build. So
we'll go to Christian, front row on your right, then we'll go to David, then Steve, then Naomi.
Hi ladies, Christian, Winsider, Hailey, Maddy, you guys are often the last ladies out of the gym, and Jeff noticed your hard work and work ethic as well. Is that the mentality that you guys had going into training camp, and what kind of motivates you to work hard like that throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean, for me at least, that's kind of been how I've approached every day of my career in college. I plan on that being the case for me when training camp ends and regular season begins. I think that that's a core of like who I am as a player is my work ethic, and that doesn't change. It doesn't get. I don't work harder or work less, by the results I'm getting. I think it stays pretty constant. So definitely wanted to show that I'm a hard worker here when I got here, but I think that that's something that will naturally reveal itself over time. And I'm just grateful to have a staff and people around me that are willing to work hard alongside of me. It's sometimes it's hard when you don't have the people around you that are willing to be in the gym with you, and that's not the case with the staff that we have. So I'm super grateful for that.
Yeah, I would second that. I think it's just, my identity is my work ethic, and that's where you get your confidence. That's where you get everything. So it's not just the way that I show up in training camp, but the way that I show up every day before then and after then. It's just my identity.
Hi, ladies. What type of advice have you been able to receive from the vets on this team, just going into the opening weekend of the season?
I think the advice that has hit the hardest with me is it's really, even though it's a new level, it's really the same game that we've been playing our whole lives. And I think as, your first year into it, you kind of see all the ways that it's different and you overlook all the ways that the game is the same. And so a lot of the vets have just reminded me that, the hoop is the same height, the ball is the same size, it's still basketball. And I think that that is something that has really grounded me and been able to calm my nerves sometimes.
Yeah, for me, I think that it's not going to come overnight. Just staying patient and staying resilient and coming in every day with a smile on your face will do a lot for you. And just having fun with it. Continue to have fun. I think, me bringing joy is something that I do naturally. And so I think some of my vets picked it up. Even E-Will, she just keeps telling me, continue to play with joy and don't lose that. So that's something really important to me.
Steve, third row on your right.
Steve Greenberg, Sun-Times. Hi to both. Questions for Hailey. I believe you used the word standards of character off the court, talking about yourself and Angel, how you're like-minded. You mind going into that more, getting specific with what you mean?
Yeah, I think that, first off, Angel is someone who is very self-assured, and she doesn't allow other people's perspectives of her to skew who she knows who she is. And I think that belief in itself creates a calming presence. Angel's a very calm demeanor, and I think that we're very similar in that way. And off the court, we're regular people, and I think that we act like regular people. We treat other people, to the correct way, and I think that I watch the way that she interacts with others, how she interacts with me, and I just think that she goes about things the right way, and I don't think that is always the side of her that is publicized. And so I always speak on that and how I appreciate that about her, because I don't think that narrative is out there in the media enough.
Last few will stay on the same row. Naomi.
Hi guys, Naomi Gray, Chicago Sports Network. Question for both of you guys. We heard all day about this ability to be able to buy into what Tyler Marsh is creating here. I just want to know, how important is it to have a coach like that, especially in his first year, be able to build that chemistry very early, just within these first couple weeks?
Yeah, he's definitely, from day one, has instilled that trust factor, and I think we both can attest to the fact, he just established that from day one. And I think once you are able to do that, then, buying in and the willingness to buy in and work hard and, run through a brick wall for your coach becomes much easier. So I think for me, it was just the fact that they established that from day one, and so that wasn't ever an issue, and we could just get, we could hit the ground running from day one.
We'll close out with Alyssa and then Nancy, second row on your left.
Hey guys, I'm trying to understand a little bit better what kind of defense Tyler wants you guys to play as a team. Can you tell us a little bit about like what are some core principles that he talks about in practice and emphasizes to you guys?
Yeah, I think the number one word that really sums up our defensive strategy is like disruption. No matter what the scheme of the other team is or what their offensive style of play is like, we want to disrupt whatever that is. Whatever they're comfortable in, we want to disrupt. We don't want to let them go where they want to go, dribble where they want to dribble, pass to who they want to pass to. And I think that, the cool part about having that mindset of disruption is that's not necessarily something that is all about skill, it's more about of a mindset. So it's something we can always control, is like, are we willing to give the effort to disrupt? And that's probably a word that we say a lot in practice is disrupt, disrupt, disrupt. So that's probably the best way I could describe our strategy.
We'll close out with Nancy, last question, third row on your left.
Hailey.
Oh, sorry. Did I cut you off?
No, you're good.
Apologies. We'll go to Nancy, third row on your left.
Hailey, what has it been like playing with Sloot so far, and what have you been able to take away from her just in the short time that you guys have played together?
Yeah, it's obviously been a huge blessing. I've said this before. If I could pick any vet in the league to play with my first year, it would be Sloot, and I think that's for a multitude of reasons. But just getting to watch and observe her and the way that she manipulates defenses and her patience and her pace are all things that are going to be very huge to my growth as a point guard in this league. And so she's definitely the best example that I could be around every day. And she's also extremely willing to have conversations with me. I ask her a lot of questions, but also if she sees something, she'll come up to me and express and, help me figure out something on her own initiative too, which, it's nice. She's investing time into me outside of me just asking her questions, which, she doesn't have to do, which I really appreciate. So it's just the start. We've only really been around each other for maybe like 2 weeks now. So, the fact that she's impacting me so much already it's exciting for me, and I can't wait to be around her more.
Start with Carly Bell.
Hi. You two have the most veteran experience on this team. Sloot, you're entering year 15. Ewell, you're entering year 11. Having that veteran experience just seems to be something that rookies and even players who have been in the league 3, 4, 5 years have really embraced and enjoyed having. What are things that both of you want to do with your veteran experience in helping lead this team, not just the rookies, but the other players that have been on here as well?
I think for me, just, the ups and downs of the seasons can be a lot. And especially now, we have a lot more eyes on us, more games. It's a long season, but also short in a way. And just making sure that, we're never getting too high and too low. This is a weird echo. But mostly we just, keep our path, keep our eyes on the prize, kind of, just making sure that we're coming in and we're doing the same things. We're not letting the emotions of wins or losses kind of get in the way of what we're trying to do here. And that's just to make sure that every single day we're doing the right things and we're competing to win games.
Hi guys, Naomi Gray, Chicago Sports Network. Courtney, this question's for you. Being in your second stint with the Chicago Sky, you spent so much time in the city of Chicago, and this summer you guys will be playing at the United Center, the first WNBA team to do that. Can you just talk about what that means for you, having spent so much time in the city of Chicago with this franchise and having the opportunity to be playing in that arena?
Yeah, I think for any basketball fan, the United Center is legendary, right? It's, a really special environment, and for us to be able to go in there and play in front of 20,000 fans, I think it speaks volumes of where the WNBA is, but where also the rivalry between the Chicago and the Fever is, and people want to see it, and I think it's especially for me and where we started playing in front of, I don't know, a couple thousand maybe on a good night, and now being to where we are, it's just incredible.
Hi, Steve Greenberg, Sun-Times. Courtney, first of all, congrats. Are you getting any sleep? And then on a completely unrelated note, I wanted to ask you, what did you know about Angel Reese coming in? And what are your early impressions of her as a teammate, as a pro, and as a star in the league?
To be honest, I didn't really know a lot about her. Obviously I knew what what you see online, I guess, or, watching her play in the college and seeing her impact in that way. Obviously it took me one day, just the first day of practice, is just see, how much of a competitor she really is. She wants to win. She wants to compete at a really high level. She wants to learn. She's a great teammate. Obviously she comes with a lot of attention, and, that's incredible for her and her brand, but it's also incredible for us as a team. And, I just am looking forward to kind of competing with her, because I think we're very similar in that ways, in our competitiveness and our toughness. It's kind of what carries our game, so I'm excited to compete with her.
David, second row on your right.
Hi, Courtney. Right over here. You've been a part of 2 championship rosters. I was just wondering if there was any habits or traits that you're trying to integrate into this roster.
I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time understanding.
I can repeat, yeah. You've
Can
been
you
a
try
part
without the microphone?
Without the mic,
Yeah. Yeah, I think the biggest one is we need everybody to win. It's really hard to win in any league, but in the WNBA especially, and to do that you have to sacrifice. It's going to look different every single night. We need everybody to be at their best, so however that looks for each player individually on a night-to-night basis, people got to be willing to do it and put egos aside, and know whatever it takes to be for the Chicago Sky to win that night that's our mentality. And I think we have to have high expectations for ourselves, and knowing that whatever, we're going to have to go in and outwork people, out-tough people, and that has to be kind of our mantra, and knowing that it's going to take all of us.
We'll go to Nancy, third row on your left.
Nancy Armour, USA Today Sports. This is for both of you. Sloot, you'd mentioned about playing in the UC kind of speaks volumes to where the W is now. And I'm just wondering for both of you, how have you seen the league grow, and what are your expectations for it going forward?
For the league, you're saying? Yeah, I think being a part of this growth is really special. Obviously, this is a big year for us negotiating the new CBA, and we want the standards to continue to be elevated. We don't want this to be a temporary thing. And so, off the court, we're trying to elevate as much as possible. But on the court, we've seen the product continue to grow. We've seen the eyes on us coming from players that already have a huge following coming out of college and then entering, and those fans following us. And that's really important. I think even the fact that we played, the preseason game at LSU, just finding creative ways to keep fans engaged. So just looking forward to the continued growth of the league, really.
We'll go to Alyssa, second row on your left.
Hey guys, I wanted to ask a culture question. I know you are building something new, but Elizabeth, you were here last year with a number of others, and so I'm wondering what positive elements from last year's culture you are carrying forward. And then Courtney, I'm also curious if any elements of the 22 culture have been passed on. I know it's been a long time and it's a new roster, but sometimes things can kind of carry forward. So just for both of you, thank you.
Yeah, I think there are some members of the staff that, outside of coaching staff, that are still here that are a really important part of who the Chicago Sky are, and what we're trying to do and build. But ultimately, there is still a lot of new. And we're trying to create a culture here, starting with free agency and getting players like Sloot back here, and then drafting who we did, players that are competitors and high character people. And so we want that to translate on the court. And I think so far, it's really early, but it has. And we're just going to continue to build off of each other and compete at a high level.
Can you remind me of the question? I think the whole idea between we need everybody, kind of that I addressed earlier, and that roster, that team. The reason we were able to put it all together is because everybody was at their best. Everybody had an important role, and they played it to their best. And I think that's what really great teams do. Really great championship teams do is everybody kind of flourishes in their role, and it starts by accepting it and knowing it, and just every single day showing up and doing that. And I think that's one thing that I can see the similarities between, is just being able to make sure everybody's at their best.
We'll go to Chris, front row on your left, and then Jason.
Hey, well, last year when you started the season, obviously Kamilla was hurt. Then obviously you got hurt during the season too. With both of you coming into the season healthy and Kamilla having a year under her belt, how important is that for this post rotation that you guys got going, where you can play so many different ways?
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, I think Kamilla had a good stint overseas in China, and that helped her to be more aggressive and take on more of the load offensively. But I'm going to come in and be a pro and be as efficient as possible. And I think with both of us, we're going to play with a lot of confidence. And I think moving forward, you always want to have post players that can play with confidence, and playing with someone like Sloot that can get you the ball in positions to score is helpful for that. And defensively, obviously, Mill has a lot of length and a lot more speed than I think people give her credit for. So just adding that to the rotation, I think, will be helpful for us.
We'll go to Jason, third row on your left, and then we'll close out with Elias.
Courtney, to your left, question for you. I mean, what has changed for you in the past month or so since becoming a parent? And what do you think it'll mean to you to have your child in the arena? I mean, not going to really be watching you play, but will that mean something to you?
Yeah, I think I talked about this earlier today, and it's like you get this whole new purpose. I've had a really long career, and I've been, really driven, individually, but now I have this whole new purpose to play for. To be able to play in front of your daughter is a really special feeling, and I think I said that I'll remember it. She probably won't, or she definitely won't, but it's still a really special thing for both me and Allie. And being home in the Chicago Sky uniform again, in the arena where, her and her other mom won championships, it's just like, you can't write that script. I like your hat, by the way. Go M's. Sorry. Tristan,
Sorry.
All you.
We'll close out with Elias, fourth row on your right.
Hi, over here. For Elizabeth, when you see Coach Marsh's new style of play, more up-tempo, spacing out, throughout preseason and training camp, how have you seen that kind of bring out the strengths in your game and highlight some of your strengths?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tyler does a good job of putting people in good positions. But in general, anytime that you're able to play with space and pace, that brings a lot of success. So for me, as someone who plays in a lot of pick and rolls, knowing where I'm going to get the ball, knowing where other people are going to be, I think that allows me to get some shots that I want. So yeah, I think it's a great style of play for all of us.
Oh man, training camp has been great. I think we have a lot of new pieces, but it doesn't even feel like it. It feels like we've been playing together for so long. And then I've played with some of the players already. Me and Ariel grew up together, so it's been seamless. The chemistry has been great, and I'm really excited to see where this team goes.
We'll go to Carly Bell, front row on your right.
Kind of to follow up on that, with both of you guys playing together growing up, and now you're here on the same team in the W, is this kind of like a full circle moment for both of you? And what does it mean to be playing with someone that you hooped with when you were a kid?
Yeah. Oh, all right. I think for me it's huge. I've looked up to Mo ever since I was little, so it's kind of crazy not only to be having on the same jersey, but us to be passing the ball back and forth. I think it's pretty insane. but I really enjoyed it, and just watching our team grow like over this small amount of time, it's been fun. And like she said, to me it's felt seamless because it's with somebody that you know. It's somebody that you have background with, and that's honestly, we still family to this day, so it's nice to have.
We'll go to Alyssa, second row on your left, then to Claire, then to Katie.
Hey guys, for Ariel, how do you think your game has changed in the last like 2 or 3 years?
Honestly, I just have the ball in my hands more. I think when I started out in this league, I was running pretty much from corner to corner, hitting backside threes, and I kind of joke about it. I feel like I evolved kind of like up the three-point line, out of the corner to the wing, towards the top of the key, you know. So I think just in the last 2 to 3 years, I've just had the ball in my hands more, and I've been like blessed with the opportunity of like responsibility and being able to do certain things and have more responsibility within the team.
Go to Claire, third row on your left.
Claire Watkins, Just Women's Sports. Maybe starting with you, Ariel. Can you talk a little bit about Tyler's communication style? It's not easy to come into a team with a brand new system, getting the spacing right, but things have looked very cohesive at the very beginning of preseason. And just for both of you, just what you've seen from Tyler and how he's able to communicate that system.
I think his communication style is just clear, like that. He just says what he wants and what we need to be doing, and he always tells us how he feels. I think as a player, it's nice. I never have to question anything with him. He's honest, he's upfront, but I think for me, the only word to use with his communication is clear.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's very concise and to the point. He doesn't have a lot of words, but the words that he say, they make so much sense, and it's easy to listen to. You never really walk out of a practice being like, I don't understand that play or what we're doing. It's going to be said in a way that you can really, comprehend. And it's been really good to play under him so far.
We'll go to Katie, front row on your left.
Hi guys, Katie with CHGO. For Ariel, how do you view your role next to Courtney Vandersloot in the starting lineup?
First and foremost, to learn as much as I can. I mean, Sloot been in this game for a minute, hot minute, 15 seasons. But I think, honestly, taking her direction, but also just honestly taking that responsibility is scoring on our team and being a playmaker. I mean, she's a playmaker in herself too, but just being that person on the wing that she can look to.
We'll go to Christian, front row on your right.
Christian Winsider, hi ladies. As both vets in this game, what are your individual kind of goals going into this season?
I think for me, a lot of people in Chicago haven't got a chance to see what I can do, obviously with injuries and things like that, but just really coming out and being consistent throughout this entire year, really showing my three-point range this year. I've worked on that a lot. So doing that, and then again, just being a leader on and off the court with my teammates.
We'll go to Chris, front row on your left.
Moriah, when you joined this team last year mid-season, and you had a whole off-season just to kind of watch how Jeff put everything together, kind of piece so many pieces together. What was it like watching the additions come together? You know, Ariel, Sloot. What was it like watching all those pieces come together?
I mean, it was amazing. Everything that we talked about when the season ended, he did, and he did it in a way that he brought amazing people together, not just great players, but great people, and you can feel that energy. You can just feel the aura, the great vibes. You walk into practice, and everybody's genuinely happy to be there, excited to being around each other, and celebrating each other's success. So I think he did a really good job of intentionally bringing the type of people that he did together.
Any more for players? We'll go to Carly, and then we'll close out with Claire.
Question for both of you. What's it been like playing with Kamilla Cardoso? It just seems like she's just, especially Moriah, you did a little bit with her last year, but it seems that she's just grown a lot more confident on both sides of the ball this season, just in the preseason. What is it like playing with someone that has that confidence and also is, 6'7" and has that type of stature?
Yeah, I think the only person that can stop Kamilla is Kamilla. When she gets her space and she clears out space and she gets the ball, it's so hard. I mean, I envy anybody who has to guard her. She's really, really strong. And that first punch she makes to get to the basket is so effective. So for us, it's just easy to get her the ball on time, on target, and just let her do her thing.
Last question from Claire, third row on the left.
Jeff and Tyler have emphasized balance for the offense this year. How freeing is it to play in a system where not one person is expected to carry the scoring load every night?
I mean, it's fun. I don't know how else to say it. To me, it's kind of when people say like, oh, we play the right way, like we get to hoop here. And I think hooping and playing basketball like isn't the same thing, you know? And so I'm really thankful that we have an opportunity to we get to hoop here, like obviously within reason, there's structure. But I think it's fun because any given night, it could be anybody's night. And when you play on a team like that, you're excited to show up every day.
That's right.
We'll start with Carly Bell, front row on your right.
Hi, guys. You know, we've talked a lot just about the veteran experience that's on this team. And Michaela, when I spoke to you, you even said that you kind of see yourself more as a vet now in that year 5. Now that you guys have really played together for 2 weeks, I know it's only been 2 weeks, but what are things that you guys really want to instill in this team, not just with the younger players there, but also helping out Coach Marsh and also the other players that still have, 3, 4, 5 years experience?
I think speaking from last year, I think sometimes we were lacking that consistency, and that consistency starts in practice. And so that's like consistency with our discipline, consistency with the way we show up. And I think that negates a lot of the other things that, we'll obviously face during the season of adversity, but if we're consistent in the things that we can control, I think that we can build on that, grow from that, and be a lot better than we were maybe in the past. And so I think we've seen every single day we've come with a lot of energy, and that's been our consistent right now. And the other things will come. But yeah, I'm really excited about that piece for this year.
We'll go to David, second row on your right.
Hi, Michaela. What has impressed you most about seeing the jump from Kamilla and Angel here in year 2?
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
It's the echo.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Huge echo.
I think for Angel, obviously she played an Unrivaled, and we saw just the versatility and what she can do as a playmaker, as kind of like that point forward. And you've seen just like her ball handling continue to grow and expand in that, which is amazing. I think that as they get better, so do we as a team. Our bigs can take us a lot of different places, and I think that'll be really good for us. And then in Kamilla as well, you've just seen her finishing ability, being able to use her height to her advantage. Like nobody can block you. You are literally the biggest on the court all the time. So just continuing to instill that in her and empowering her that when she wants to be, she can be unstoppable. And using her power, using her height to her full advantage.
We'll go to Nancy, third row on your left.
Nancy Armour, USA Today Sports. Rebecca, sorry. Deloitte has estimated that women's basketball will surpass women's soccer this year in terms of revenue. And I'm just wondering, as a veteran, how you've seen the league grow and what your expectations are for this year and obviously with the CBA going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really special to watch how, women's sport in general, and yes, whether basketball surpassed soccer, I don't think that that's what matters at all. I just think that we're really seeing women's sport be at the forefront of the media and newspapers, everything like that, because people are seeing the awesome product that it is and choosing to invest in women's sport as well. So for me, it's been great because we're part of that. We're part of, bringing it forward and showing everyone the great product that it is, and we're going to continue doing that too. So I like that, it's bigger than just being a game. There's so many other aspects. You're seeing the personalities of the people that are playing on the court as well, and I think that's also what brings new fan audience bases in too.
We'll go to Alyssa, second row on your left.
Hey guys, over here. Becca, for you, I know that last season you had injuries and that the season, coming back from injuries can be difficult mentally. So I'm just curious how your experience has been so far, getting back into live play and how your body feels.
Yeah, I mean, last season was probably the toughest season I've ever had in my career. And for me, it was really big in this off season of doing a lot of work, not just physically, but also mentally, because I think if you're going to come into a WNBA season, this is the best league in the world. You need to be prepared and you need to be all in. So that was my big thing. It was getting myself super ready for this so that, hey, physically I'm ready to go, but mentally I'm more ready, And so that was a really big part of the progress and the work that I did. But yeah, I worked really hard in this off season. So, and I know that I'm just building every single day. So I'm grateful that my teammates have had a bit of grace with me as well. But each day has been getting better and better.
And then for you, Michaela, just because you've been here, have there been small upgrades in the resources and amenities that are available to players compared to last year?
I wouldn't say so. I think that with the resources that we do have, we had everything that we needed. Obviously, we have an amazing chef who we're able to fuel with, the things that we had with Ann and being able to recover our bodies in that way and training. No, I don't think it's very different. I think that Chicago Sky, regardless of the year, we try to keep that standard that the players' health is the most important. It is the priority. So I feel it's pretty similar to last year. That's a testament to our staff and how they are prioritizing our bodies, our health. So I really appreciate that.
We'll go to Claire, third row on your left.
Claire Watkins with Just Women's Sports. Michaela, Angel was speaking earlier about how her versatility is going to be a strength for this team going forward, and you're very similar in that way. You can play in multiple positions on the court. How do you mentally handle being ready to show that versatility, and where on the court would you say you are most comfortable?
Yeah, I think that I pride myself on versatility, and I've had to do that a lot in this league, and this league has pushed me as well. I came in as a rookie kind of playing like a stretch four, and I very quickly learned that might not be my permanent position, and that's okay. And I think part of being a professional is being adaptable. So I've tried to do that every single year, is be adaptable and add to my game. And that starts in the off season. Obviously, there are things that my coaches are asking of me, but there are also things that I expect of myself as well. And part of that is being able to play both positions if that's where I'm needed. And so mentally, obviously, it can be tough at times having to learn two positions. See the floor a little bit differently as a guard versus as a forward. It's very different as well, but that just comes from film, being in the gym, having my teammates support me and my coaching staff as well. And so, yeah, it can be tough at times, but I wouldn't have it any other way. As far as what I'm comfortable with, I kind of lean towards more being on the perimeter a little bit, but I think that being able to play the four, it really opens up the floor for our team. And if I can help our team in any way, that's what I want to do.
Mate, you can put her in the point guard position as well. I'm just saying. She does it all.
She's reaching. The one? No, that's the one I will shy away from.
We'll go to Elias, back row on your right.
Hi. Just one thing for both of you that has really stood out about maybe Coach Marsh for your first handful of weeks with him is, just in general, one thing that has maybe popped out about his coaching style.
Something has popped out about Tyler?
About his coaching style and so far.
His style, yeah. I really like Tyler's approach. I think he's really made sure that there's two-way communication, and I think that's really big for a coach where it's not just all coming from coach to player. That two-way approach is really good, especially when you do have, it's not even just veteran experience. I think that everyone needs to have a voice from no matter what age you are, But I also just like how he's really big on stacking days. It's about building every single day. You don't need to be at your prime right now. This is very much the beginning, but it's also been exciting to see how cohesive we have been in these practice games at the start. No, it's not perfect, and we're not near that at all, but at the same time, it's felt really good out there in so many moments. So it's been really encouraging.
I would agree with Beck. I think you kind of took the words out of my mouth. I had a little bit of a precursor to Tyler just because I came for the press conference when he was first hired. I was able to come back to Chicago in the offseason to work out, and so I was able to experience him in a little bit of a different way. But yeah, like Beck said, the two-way communication. He's constantly texting us, hey, what did you like about this? What did you like about that? I think that shows for him is that he's never too big to, get commentary from players, and I think that's, like Beck said, it's a two-way street. Obviously we're all here to win games. We have goals of that. So to have a coach who comes to us is really important. So I think he's been a great addition, a breath of fresh air, and I think he'll be really good for us as our leader.
We've got time for a couple more. We'll go back to Carly Bell, front row on your right.
We've seen both of you in the 3 preseason games kind of be vocal leaders, especially for Maddy Westbeld. What have you both seen out of her, and what can she bring to this team? I know there's obviously development that needs to happen, but what are the things that really stand out to you, both of you, about what she can bring?
Yeah, she's got that really good range as well where she can shoot the ball from the 4. I think a 4 who can shoot, that's huge in this league because you can really space the floor. That's really a defensive nightmare for so many teams. So I think with her as well, like anyone, I think about us when our first year in the league. She was Rookie of the Year first. She came in with a lot of confidence, obviously. But I just remember that you do need to grow and build. And so part of that is making sure that she feels confident too coming in here. And with whatever minutes she gets, she feels that, she's got her teammates behind her as well. So I think there's that encouragement.
I also think that her defensive presence as well, she's a very physical, strong body. I've tried to box her out. She's very, very strong, and she can use that and be really physical with the 4s in this league. Playing the 4, I've seen what the 4s have to offer in this league, some of the best players in the league, and she can be able and have the ability to disrupt that in that way defensively. And so continue to just empower her and tell her that she can be confident in herself in that. Like, offense might not come, every day, but you can do things under your control on defense. So just continue to tell her that is really important right now.
Last question from David Moses, second row on your right.
Hi, Michaela. Once again, we've seen you at a couple Bulls games with teammates. Can you just talk about the importance of chemistry and how comfortable you are heading into the season of the chemistry of the team?
Yeah, I obviously I'm very blessed and grateful to play this game. I think that we have earned the position that we're in, being in the WNBA. It's something that we've dreamed of since we were kids, and so the basketball piece is really important. We're here to do our jobs, but I think the relationships piece is just as important. The reason why I get so happy and feel so blessed to be here is because of the people. And when things are high, when things are low, you know that you have the people to kind of count on and to rely on. And that's the best part of basketball, is it's so fun to win games, but it's even more fun to be able to have movie nights with teammates, go out, like you said, to games with teammates, and kind of delve into other people's personalities outside of basketball. And so, yeah, it's been very cool to be able to get to know people. I tend to get along with people pretty easily anyways, but this group has just been so refreshing, and I feel like everybody's here to win, but also they're really, really good people. And so I love the combination, and we've been able to just be blessed with good players and people.
We'll open up to questions for players. We'll start with Carly Bell, then we'll go to Jason.
Hi, you guys.
Hi.
One thing that we've just really seen here in these last 3 preseason games has been the confidence out of Kamilla Cardoso. Both of you guys, what has it been like just being able to feed the ball inside to her, and where do you see her development and her growth going as the season progresses?
Yeah, Millie's a beast. She's just so fun to play with. We always talk about like how easy it is to play with her, because you can just throw that thing up there and she's gonna catch it every time. It makes us look good, and it not necessarily a good pass all the time. But I think that she's gonna continue to grow when she starts to realize how much she can take over the game herself. I know in our last preseason game, we're like, don't pass it out, like go score. I don't care if there's 2 people, like she could score over 2 people, so we're like, just score. So when she gets that like mentality, she's gonna be a beast.
Yeah, early on in training camp, I went up to her and said, I just like feel like I'm gonna get a lot of assists from you, so just make your layups and I'll just throw it, no problem. And that's exactly what I feel. Like, I feel like as shooters, it's always great when you have posts on the inside who are so dominant and can be that dominant, because we get to set the back screens for them. So that usually helps out. And I think when you look at Millie, the big piece of it for me is like defensively as well. She has so much talent. And I think the first play in that Minnesota game, the last time we played them, she guarded the ball screen and then got back and blocked the shot. And so I'm like, every time you move your feet on a ball screen, you're gonna be so difficult to play against, because we have to read as guards, we're difficult, and you can alter any shot. And so I think we keep telling her, like Rachel said, like, go score when you get the ball in the post, and you're in the paint, score. But on the defensive end, she's gonna be huge for us as well.
We'll go Jason, third row on your left.
Kia to your left. You came to a team that was 13-27 last season. What do you sense about the ambition that this group has going into this year?
Well, the team I came from was like 12-38, I think, so, a little different. But I think if you look at it, just coming into this locker room, we talk about it a lot. There's a lot of new, right? Like, there's a lot of new players, there's a new system. But what I like is that it feels like we're gelling pretty quickly. And I've been on a lot of different training camps and a lot of different teams, and I think this is the one that's felt the smoothest. In terms of coming in, there's a great mix of vets, where when you have a lot of vets in training camp and understanding that training camp's only 14 days max, you've got to put in all your offensive systems and your defensive systems and integrate new players at the same time. It's difficult, but I think what I feel right now is like, with vets, you don't got to tell them twice. This is what we're running. We've probably run it somewhere else. Get through it. We can help the younger ones because we're oftentimes the ones that go first in some of those drills, and so they just pick up on it really quickly. You don't have to tell them twice, which is great. And so that's where you see the movement going forward. When you're not stuck on the same thing day after day in training camp, I feel like we're progressing pretty quickly. And then the chemistry stuff off the court is just going to translate to the on-the-court stuff.
We'll go to Nancy, third row on your left.
Nancy Armour, USA Today Sports. This is for both of you. The league has really had a lot of growth over the last couple of years in particular, and I'm just wondering if you can put your finger on what it is exactly that is kind of pushing the league forward and what you want to see this year and in the years to come, given that there's going to be a new CBA at the end of the year?
Can you tell me what you said? It's not you, it's the echo. Can you put your finger on why it grew? Why the league grew? Mm-hmm. Oh, social media, for sure, social media. Man, I think it's just been so many more eyes on the game. I mean, you get to growing up, like, we weren't able to see the WNBA that easily unless you lived in a town that had a team and you went to the game. Or maybe you got to see the playoffs or the finals on TV. So it's just, I think social media, you can see us anywhere, everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever. And so yeah, I just think that's, the visibility has just grown insane amounts. Yeah, I think we still have to continue to build on that visibility. I think when, I first came into the league, it was more local stations that had on every game. But when you left a college, say, Brianna Stewart came from UConn, she went to Seattle. Well, all the people that were in the Connecticut, New York area didn't have Seattle's local station, so they couldn't follow their favorite players. Now, because of the visibility that we have, and because we have these computers in our pocket, and we can stream things more easily, you can actually follow your favorite players from college into the pros. And so then, now you're starting to, a new fan last year that came in with Angel Reese now knows who everyone else is on Chicago because they've now watched the Chicago Sky game, right? And so the growth has then come from there. We have to continue to do a good job of making it accessible for people, like no more blackout zones. When you're, sometimes I'm just in the car. I know it's a blackout zone, but I'm in the car and I need it on my phone. And giving people, putting it in a place where it's easily accessible is kind of the big piece of what I'm trying to get at there in terms of the visibility, and continuing to grow and tell stories, right? Like, everybody in this room is important because you tell the stories of each and every one of us as individuals, as humans, what we do on and off the court. And so that helps grow the game as well because our stories are going to resonate with somebody, and hopefully a young woman who's going to probably come take our jobs in the next 40 years.
We'll go to Alyssa, second row on your left.
Hey guys. Kia, I remember in your intro presser you were talking about, like, post ACL injury, things really clicked for you when you realized, like, you're not going to be your old self, you're going to be something new. Can you tell us a little bit about, like, what is new Kia Nurse?
Yeah, she's still really funny and pretty bright now. I think for me, going to Athletes Unlimited in the off season was huge. The 5-on-5 was what I needed, what was like missing in my off season from the broadcast stuff that I do at home. And going there, I have told so many people, it was great for my encore, but it was so good for my soul. Like, just being in a place where it was just go out there and play. It's so player-led that you take away everything from coaching and quote-unquote politics of basketball that exist in places, and you just go and play, and you hoop. And it's the purest form of hoop. And so for me, I actually started to feel like confident in my basketball game again. And that's getting out in transition, that's knocking down the three ball with consistency. The more I smile on the court, the better I'm playing, usually, because that means I'm probably in somebody's head and I'm probably annoying somebody, which is great. And so I think a lot of the stuff that I did before my ACL is still there. I'm still gonna dive on loose balls. I still want to be one of the toughest players on the floor. I'm still gonna defend and shoot the three ball. But I can get into mid-range game and I can play in transition and I can feel like I can hit somebody again and land safely. And my body's not subconsciously trying to avoid that. So, yeah, she's a happy girl. She's a happy basketball player. That's what all it needs.
We'll go to David, second row on your right, then we'll go to Elias and then Claire.
Hi, ladies. You've both been through the WNBA season grind. I just want to know what continues to give you that competitive edge, that love for competing every single day.
We've been through the WNBA season grind. What keeps you going, competitive edge?
Oh, great question. Man, I don't know, I think just the love for the game. I don't know, I just love playing. I love, not even just that part, but just the relationships, like every season, just being around really awesome women, and just totally different types of people. It's just really, really fun, and that plays into just, I want to play basketball, I want to have fun, I want to compete with like the coolest people alongside of me and have fun while doing it. So I'd probably say that's what it is, just being around great people.
I'm pretty biased, but I think this is like the best job in the world. We go to the gym for like 5 to 6, sometimes 7 if you're eager, hours a day. We run up and down a court for like 3 of those hours. We lift, we chat, do recovery, and go home, and then do what everybody else does when they go home, right? And that's just, to me, we're doing something that we love, that we've done since we were so young, and we get paid to do it, and it's really fun. And there's a level of leaving a legacy as well in your communities. The young women that are now going through some of those systems that we went through as kids, the systems I went through in Canada, the systems that Rach went through in Minnesota, and thinking to themselves, Rachel Banham did this and got to the WNBA, now I can do it. And so what better way to leave a legacy than a piece of leather filled with air that you get paid to shoot into a hoop? Like, if you think about it, best job in the world.
Last few, we'll go to Elias, back row, right.
For Kia, just signing on during the off-season, what attracted you to the organization? What were some of those main things? And how have they been maybe reaffirmed already in training camp?
I got the first part of it. What attracted
Just how have maybe some of those things been reaffirmed already in training
Yeah.
camp?
You know, at my free agency meetings, I really appreciated getting to know Tyler a little bit and his philosophies. He's a quiet guy, but he's a man of few words, but it gets to the point when he's speaking. And I felt like that was a really good connection that I had made with him. Jeff was the same way, and Jeff is really honest. And I feel like you can go into a lot of those free agency meetings and it can be a lot of fluff. Jeff doesn't give you fluff. He tells you how it is. And so I appreciated that. And I had Elizabeth Williams with me when I was going through the process at Athletes Unlimited. I'll give her some credit. She sold me on Chicago and was honestly really honest with me about her experience here too, the good and the stuff that might need a little bit of improvement. But I feel like I've said it to a bunch of people around here. I'm like, this has been a great transition. It's been probably more than I expected. And this is an organization that I feel like really values their athletes and wants us to worry about only basketball, and everything else they help take care of.
We'll go to Claire, we'll close out, third row on your left.
Claire Watkins with Just Women's Sports. Maybe asking a similar question to you, Rachel. Maddy mentioned earlier today that she came out of one of her first preseason games with a sense of joy playing basketball that she hadn't felt in a long time, which felt like a very rare insight to get from a rookie trying to make a roster. Where does that come from in this group, in your opinion? And is it a mixture maybe of the players that you have and a coaching staff that lets you be free out there?
Yeah, you said Maddy said that?
Mm-hmm. Maddy said that, yeah.
Nice. I think it's just the personalities that Jeff put together. Like, when I talked to Jeff after this past season, we knew things needed to change, and he always talked about, and he knew this was really important to me and Elizabeth, some of the returners, like putting the right people in this organization. People, just good people, fun people, people you want to be around. And I think he really did that with this group. Like, we really just love to be around each other, and we love to be weird and have fun and just like have joy in what we're doing, even if it's not always going to look pretty. So I think that's a big piece. The players, and then Jeff, and then the coaches, they let us kind of rock out. Like, we're weird, and they're just like, okay, you know, like Tyler just giggles at it, and we keep it moving. So I think we all are just really great about letting each other be who we are and accepting that and respecting each other.